kind of shit, like Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
All the different conquerors.
And all these guys. Yeah. Pippin, Charlemagne, Clovis.
Now, is this stuff that you just studied because you wanted to study conquerors? Did it just interest you?
I wanted to study that mindset. You know, and I found that the greatest conquerors that ever lived were farmers. You know, farmers, sheep herders. Somebody that we wouldn't think that's important and stuff. And then as they became great through that, they gave birth to great children who were born with greatness, like Alexander the Great and stuff. Like Philip the Macedonian, that whole bloodline of Alexander, they were all kings, but they were all very small and insignificant. Until it was one Alexander before him that was pretty great and fought against the Persians, but eventually they lost, and they pretty much kissed the Persians' asses. You know what I mean? The Persians put them in a position of power until Philip Macedonia came, who had the nickname a.k.a. Philip the Barbarian. And he wanted to go across there and enslave all the Persians and everybody after that, the world. And Alexander the Great, mother, who was a really interesting woman, I'm trying to say Albanian maybe, and they had a different kind of study and worship and stuff back then. So he got caught up in that. His family didn't like her for that, but she arranged for Alexander's father, I think, to be killed, for Alexander to have the power. Then her kids had the power. She could lead through her kids while he was on campaigns, right? And when he was on these campaigns, now that his father was gone, he just conquered everything. But when he ran into the Afghanian people, he fell in love with them. He wanted to interbreed with them. He wanted to create a new race of Afghan. He just madly fell in love with them. And that's pretty much why his family, not his family, but the Greeks went, mutiny on him. Because they were jealous that they were given big positions to the Persians. No, Afghanistan. He loved them. He even quotes, Afghanistan is the most beautiful people in the world. God must have loved them more than anybody. He made them beautiful. He really fell in love with them.
When did you start getting really into, like, conquerors? When you started
15.
Really, when you're 15?
Yeah.
What introduced you to it?
I was at the table eating with Cuss, and a friend of mine named Craig Wall said a statement which he was wrong, but it sounds really good to make me investigate. He said Alexander the Great at his time was like 6'5", so at 6'5", 300 years before Christ, that was a giant, which was wrong. He was very small. The armor was too big for him. He was a really small guy. He wasn't big at all.
And so just that alone, him saying that, got you interested in
I thought he was a monster. He was a massive guy, but I found that he's just a small man, average guy. You know, he's not a monster at all. Not a big man at all.
But you got interested in the mindset of the conquerors.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is what I want to know. Why would one person think that he could fucking own the whole world? One person. Why would he have that mind? Who would think like that?
Right.
Why would that's not a fucking person. That's just something when your ego's just got so out of whack. Yeah. Where you just can't think rational. How do you think like that? And you're a nice person. It was a guy before him, a couple of hundred years before him, named Cyrus the Great. He was just like, he was a conqueror, but he was a conqueror for liberty. He wanted to conquer all the slaves and let them go. Conquer all the slave masters, let them go. He got killed for that too, but can you, who the hell, maybe that sounds cool too, right? Yeah. That's good, that's a good thing. But listen, think about it. Who the fuck is he to take somebody else's property, take somebody else's stuff because he believes it's wrong, which it probably is wrong. I think it's wrong, but who the fuck is he?
Right.
Who is this guy to take others, just to conquer you? You don't bother nobody, but this is what they did back then. Now you're killing everybody. Back then, it was really legal. It's almost in the Bible, it's in the books. It's not, I won't say it, but it's in books, slavery. It's in the books, in the religious book that we need slaves, and he did this. And this guy's going to say, hey, no more slaves. He's 500 BC, so he's going to say no more slaves. No more slavery is wrong out through the whole world. So he wants to conquer the world and free all the slaves.
Wow.
So that's just a different mindset.
Yeah, they're different kinds of mindsets that these conquerors have.
But who he think he is? Who the hell is he? He has his little town over here. How he's gonna go over the whole world? His town is right here. Well, forget his town. His country is right here.
Yeah.
You know. And he hasn't even conquered his country yet. Now he's gonna conquer the world and liberate freedom, make freedom. What kind of guy? Now that's listen. If that's not somebody on drugs, you tell me. No, you tell me. Now be
Right,
honest. If that's not
yeah.
somebody high, you tell me.
It could be coke.
No, that nigga, it's something. It's
Right?
something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna free everybody.
Right.
This is at 500 BC. This is slavery is what it is. This is
Right.
the way of the world. No, I'm gonna free all the slaves.
That's pretty crazy.
I'm gonna free everybody.
What did you get out of like reading about their mindset? Like studying Temujin, studying Alexander the Great. Like what did you get out of reading about their mindsets?
I found out that the greatest ones, the best, the most prolific ones, were all mama's boys.
Really?
Yeah, afraid of their mother.
Wow.
Napoleon, Alexander. You know what I mean?
Wow. Genghis Khan too?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
What do you think that is?
Huh?
What do you think that's all about?
Highly respect their mother. I think their mothers were the first, especially Alexander the Great. I think she was the first stage mother. I think there was some before her too. You know, because Cleopatra was that's just what they were. At the end of the time, they were wanted to lead through their sons or their daughters or something like that.
Oh, okay. Like that parent that takes their kids to athletic events and screams and cheers and pumps them up and
No.
No?
It's the parent whose child word is law, and I want to be able to have that word.
Okay.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
My son is the king
Right.
of this country, a couple of countries, but I want my thought to be in his mouth, come out of his mouth.
Do you think the parents convinced the child that they were that special that they should run the world?
Some of them do, but as some kids get older, like Ivan the Great, Ivan the Terrible, they get older and then they realize these people weren't right towards me, and they start killing his sponsors or the people that were ripping step-parents and stuff. You know, some of the kings did it too. You know.
So when you were studying this, when you were coming up as a boxer and you're studying all these conquerors, you were trying to understand their mindsets.
Yeah.
And you were trying to apply that to your own life?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you get anything out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you get? Like, how did it apply to your own life?
Well, at the end of the day, they all ask God for forgiveness. All of them.
So when you're reading all these books about all these conquerors, when you're a young man and you're on your way to becoming the youngest ever heavyweight champion, and you're trying to take on the mindset of the conquerors, and you find out they all ask God for forgiveness.
Yes.
How did that affect you?
That was pretty cool, because by that, I learned greatness was the willingness to die. By, doing research on these particular individuals. And that's what they were willing to do for greatness.
And you
you heard about Achilles and stuff. He what did he want? A short life of greatness and a long life of obscurity.
Yeah.
So he took the short life, and that's what Alexander did.
When you study these people and you take that conqueror's mindset, did you get anything out of that? Did you apply that into your own pursuit as a champion?
Absolutely, because you have to listen. Alexander the Great was 32 and he conquered the known world.
Yeah.
In 10 years.
And so thinking about that as a young man.
Absolutely. I want my preeminence to rival the times that in the sands of time. It's not reign with it. I think everybody should want that are competitive in the art of what do you say? Immortality.
Yeah.
And I search for it. That's what he wanted. He wanted immortality. That's what he wanted. He wanted to be known since till the end of time.
Did you ever think that maybe you were born in the wrong time? That maybe if you were born in the times of Alexander the Great, you would also be a conqueror?
No. I am a conqueror now because I've conquered myself and my demons. You know, not because I'm at that time. I'm never born to. I'm born in the right time. Most of them couldn't conquer their demons. That's why they ask for forgiveness from God, all of them. Because just like the gentleman that discovered um, Alcoholics Anonymous, you know,
Yeah.
he inspired. Maybe he had a problem with alcohol at the end, but how many people have he inspired?
Yeah.
That is so much bigger than him succeeding or not with his problem.
You know what's interesting about him is he was interested in LSD.
Bill Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, that was a big thing of his.
That's what instructed him to have the program.
Yeah.
To develop the program.
Yeah. When you're talking about they all would seek forgiveness from God, it's so interesting to me that you turned to cannabis, and cannabis allowed you to forgive yourself.
Yeah, listen, the reason why they ask for forgiveness for God, this is interesting that you said that, is because they believed they were God. And they had to, at the end of the day, realize and check themselves.
That they're not.
Yeah.
They're not God. And then they've done horrific things.
Oh, yeah. At the end of his life, he was so forgiving and giving everything away and so sorry for everybody. He didn't know how to forgive himself either. He didn't know how do you do that when you think you go? How do you forgive yourself? So at the end of the day, he said, look, the man who conquered the world died with nothing in his hand. He gave everything away, had no swords or nothing. He was so freaked out about dying, being the rich guy and stuff, and having so much property and having the world like he possessed, because he had the world. It's this gentleman that Eugenius, forgot the guy that they named Sloth after, the animal sloth. Eugenius, I don't know, but he was like, he's considered a homeless bum nowadays. Today he would be called a bum, a homeless guy, whatever. And Alexander been watching him. This is how keen he is. He's watched this guy for years. And he said, listen, before he became king of Greece, he's watched this guy. This is when he wasn't king of, and he said, hey, listen, I watch you and I have everything. And I'm unhappy and you don't have nothing. So what can I do to you to make you happy? And know what he said? Know what he had the balls to say? He said, first of all, you can be kind enough to move out the way of the sun and then allow me to enjoy my day. And he couldn't conceive of somebody to turn him down for riches and stuff. He couldn't conceive of it. It just blew his mind. He was so blown away, he couldn't even kill a guy for disrespecting him. He was just blown away. He said, I have everything. And he realized he wasn't happy. He had it all. He's the king of Greece. He didn't even know where he was getting ready to go. He's getting ready to be king of the world, but he's the king of Greece and he's just not happy. And he has everything. So he thinks by conquering the world is going to make him happy. And he did. And what happened? He turned into a drug.
Wow.
Imagine that.
It's crazy.
That's why he experienced a new drug. Listen, when you went on a campaign, know what I thought? I thought when you went on a campaign, the movies lie. They say you go on a campaign to just about 300 gladiators or 10,000 soldiers. No, they bring their whole family with them. It's like a party. Their wives, their kids, everything. They got the surveyors are with them. House builders are with them. The people who deal with agriculture for that time, everything's with them. Wine, even for they could test everything when they conquer. Conquering, you know what conquering is? We think that's glorious. Conquering is glorious. Know why? Because know why it is? Conquering, robbing, raping, illegally taking somebody else's goods and enslaving them. That's conquering. That's not good people. All the people we like, we say these guys, this guy, he conquered this, he conquered that. They hurt people. They did it for greed. They didn't do it for, we're going to help our people. They did it to take things because they could.
Now, when you were coming up as a fighter and you were reading all these things about Conquerors, you were fueling your mind in that way, and you were also studying a lot of fights. You studied all the old school champions. Are you doing that now in this resurgence? Like, are you studying films?
No, because I think I know everything about them already. I did the research on them. I was a kid, so I started I started going to the other level. So I go from the level of these guys that are fighters, the gladiators, all those guys. So I go from them to the generals, and from the generals to the gods.